Thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister, for your keynote address and for appreciating the support that UN system and UNDP has provided, but also highlighting the challenges both in the country and the region where the UN and UNDP support can be further enhanced. Thank you very much, and I have my pleasure now to invite the Regional Director, Mr. Haoliang Shu, to give his closing remarks.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, Vice Prime Minister, Mr. Huang Chunhai, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Hakim Nok, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to speak at this opening session of our cluster meeting. We are very happy, Deputy Prime Minister, that we have chosen Vietnam, Hanoi, as the venue of our meeting. You know, as you have outlined, and as our administrator has outlined earlier, we choose Vietnam because Vietnam, has achieved significant development over the last 2 decades, and we feel that this is a place where we can see how our cooperation has produced results, and also we can reflect on the development challenges that still remain. And you have mentioned that for the government of Vietnam, you are firmly developing on the path of sustainable development strategy. You are pursuing green growth. You are pursuing public-private partnerships. And all these issues are important for us, for the development of different Asian countries. And you mentioned the importance of national ownership, and you mentioned the importance of respecting the needs of each country when we develop our future development agenda. So these messages are very much the kind of messages we want to hear from our governments, and we want to keep in mind as we move forward to work with our countries. So thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister. And our administrator has also given us a very inspirational and very comprehensive review of the development landscape in Asia Pacific. And she outlined the challenges that lie ahead. From both speeches, with Vietnam as a microcosm of the developed landscape in Asia Pacific, we've seen the achievements, both in Vietnam and in Asia Pacific in general. These achievements are reflected in the reduction of poverty, in improvement of governance systems. In Vietnam, for example, I have an example that where UNDP and the government worked together to improve public administration reform. Okay, so we initiated together, a one-stop shop model. Right, it started in 2000, and now rolled out across the country by the government. And by the end of 2011, 97% of the country's more than 11,000 communes have applied the one-stop shop model, for example, just one example, right? So working together with the commitment of the government, we can achieve results at scale, right? But what can we do further, right? There are many, many achievements. I have prepared a statement and I think, given what our administrator and the Deputy Prime Minister have said, I'm not going to read my statement. So I will use this opportunity and to reflect a little bit on what we want to achieve, through our meeting. And I think, the meeting is taking place in the context of our new strategic plan, right? For 2014 and 2017, which outlined the very clear priorities: poverty reduction and the simultaneous reduction of inequality as the first and most important task. The Deputy Prime Minister emphasized, and the administrator also emphasized, the importance of achieving MDGs, in the remaining 2 years to 2015, right? But we also agree, our executive board has approved our new strategic plan, that we needed to focus on effective and inclusive democratic governance. Right? The Million Voices has brought this out very clearly. Right? So this is our second strategic priority. And the third one is building resilience. Right? And the number of disasters that were mentioned is staggering. And I think this, both for disasters and for crisis situation, we needed to build resilience in our countries. And we will have a session to discuss with the Heather Simpson, the senior advisor, to the administrator on the strategic plan shortly. Okay. So what does it mean for our bureau? I think we should use this meeting as an opportunity to discuss specifically what are our priority actions for the next few years. Just to name a few issues on the substantive issue side. Okay. Asia Pacific is known for its diversity. Diversity of countries in different levels of income, different size, okay, different issues, right? But what we needed to focus on in the next few years, let's say, we have, for example, countries in middle income, right? Dominantly middle income country. So what are the needs of these countries? Right? What is new? What is different from what we're familiar with traditionally in the last 20, 30 years we've worked with? In my visits to country offices, I have a strong demand, from our countries to say that, okay, we need new products, right, to offer to our governments. We need innovative products, okay, and we need new models of work, the speed in responding to our government requirements, because the traditional way of project cycle management may not be sufficient. So we need innovation. We need to have innovative ways of working with our governments. The Deputy Prime Minister also mentioned the word innovative solutions. I think this is one issue I think we needed to look at. Right. We have countries with very distinctive needs, like small development islands. Right. We will have a CITES conference next year, and they feel they have a crisis, in terms of the impact of climate change. Right. So what can we do for these countries? Right. So many of these are very small countries. Right. We're talking about a country with a few thousand people to a few hundred thousand of people. Right. So what kind of impact can we make, in these countries? Right. And we have also countries like Afghanistan, right, in transition also, right, accounting for over 50% of our expenditure. So what can we do for these countries? Right? What do we need to do to ensure accountability? I think these are the issues we want to address. Okay. We talk about partnerships, right? South-South cooperation. Okay. In terms of government cost sharing, for example, okay, on average, in UNDP, the share of government cost sharing is about 20%. That means we have partnership with our host country governments working together, right, for development solutions. In this region, although 15 countries report government cost sharing, the share of government cost sharing in our overall expenditure is 2% at this time. Right. So, but we have many countries that are capable of working with us together to share the burden of finding solutions. So what can we do about it? Right? So we have done a lot of analysis that we want to show to our colleagues and discuss these issues, find a way to move forward. Okay. And one of the issues that we want to talk about is innovation. Right? And the reason is very simple. There are many more people working on development issues today than 10 years ago and 20 years ago. So many development solutions are being found outside the UN, outside the government traditional ways of working together. Right? So we needed to go out of these confines and working together with speed and with open mind, with the willingness to accept the failures, and in the process to find effective solutions and to scale them up, to test them and to scale them up. Okay. So this is something we also want to discuss in our meeting. Okay. And RBAP spent quite a lot of resources to find solutions that are innovative, that can be scaled up. In Vietnam, for example, we allocated $1 million to scale up a project that is in the governance area, in the public performance index. Okay. Right. So we tested this in Vietnam. We found that this is what the government wants. So RBAP has allocated $1 million to scale it up further, and to see where we can go with this one, right? And there are many other issues that we can talk about during this meeting. One of the issues that Helen mentioned is the relationships with different institutions, ASEAN, right, SAC, PRF, ADB, World Bank, and so forth, right? So we have MOUs with these organizations. So what have we achieved with these relationships? Right? Where do we go from here? Right? So we want to look at evidence. So what we can do to go further, in these partnerships. And one of the issues that I want to emphasize, that even though we may not have time to go to the bottom of it, is the question of communication. How do we communicate our results? Right? Because one of the emphasis of the strategic plan is the results, impact. Because everybody has a sense of urgency to achieve development results. So our donors, our governments are putting pressure on us to achieve results. But we're achieving results. Over the last 5 years, we have achieved a lot of results. We launched the report, the 5-year report. Right? You've seen the statistics there. One of the issues is communicate effectively to our constituencies, because this is critical for getting support from our constituents, from our public, from our governments, from our donors. Right? What can we do further, in this regard? One thing that I've discovered is that we don't have a lot of local language, websites and social media efforts. Okay, right? If in Asia Pacific, in Vietnam, for example, I think you have language sites here, right? So if in Vietnam we don't use the local language to communicate with the public, we're not talking to the public. If in China, we don't have Chinese language media materials, we're not talking to 1.3 billion people, right? In Indonesia, the largest moderate Muslim countries in the world, if we don't have Bahasa Indonesia, we're not talking to the people, right? So I think this is something we needed to think. Even if we don't find a solution in this meeting, but I want to put this on the table, that we needed to work, the question of private sector partnership. Right? The private sector is a driver of development. Right? There's no shortage of funds, within the private sector, or non-state sectors. Right? We have so many examples, in our region. Okay, with IKEA, for example, in India, right? With America in China, right? With Coca-Cola in many countries, right? Finding innovative solutions. So what can we do, really? I think the countries need instruments, needs guidelines, right, on how to work with this. The willingness is there, right? The understanding is there. But what kind of tools can we have, to work out new arrangements for, developing the challenges? I think, these are the issues that I just want to mention, that we want to address, in this 2.5 days. Okay, and. So to conclude, we know that we will face challenges going ahead, okay? But we believe that working together, with our strategic plan, priorities as our guide, we're confident that these deliberations that we'll have in the next 2.5 days, will prepare us well, and to ensure that UNDP is fit for purpose for Asia Pacific. and we will build on our strengths, okay, and utilize our capacities to seize the opportunities that we have, and to be the partner of choice for our governments. So we look forward to working with the government of Vietnam in your future efforts to develop the country further. And we look forward to working with other governments in our region in the past, towards 2015 and beyond. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hao Liang. And once again, I would like to thank Deputy Prime Minister for really coming here and taking time when a very busy National Assembly, very intense National Assembly is in session, and also with the storms and typhoons looming large, which you are taking care of personally. So on behalf of all my friends and all my colleagues here in the room, I would like to have a very big round of applause for our Deputy Prime Minister, our administrator, the regional director, for very good opening speeches, and now we invite you for a cup of coffee outside. Thank you.
I think we will not have coffee now, but just wait. Okay.
Excuse me, colleagues, the coffee break, it's only for the government. The UNDP colleagues should stay in the room.
Yeah, so colleagues, please remain seated, okay? Please remain seated. We will start our teleconference with Professor Mahbubani, the Dean of Public Administration of Lee Kuan Yew